Imagine waking up 10 years from now and realizing that your life looks nothing like you imagined. You have the same job, the same routines, and the same frustrations. And then it hits you, you didn't fail because you weren't smart enough. You didn't fail because you weren't lucky enough. You failed because you never mastered the one skill that changes everything. This skill isn't taught in schools. It's not on your resume. And yet it's the reason some people thrive while others struggle despite equal effort, talent, and opportunity. Today, I'm going to show you why your future depends on this skill and how mastering it can transform every area of your life, your career, your relationships, and even the way you see yourself. If you stay until the end of this talk, you'll understand exactly how to develop this skill and why it will give you an unfair advantage. In a world where almost everyone is competing blindly. Absolutely. I'll expand your keynote on self-awareness into a detailed 1,000-word speech without subheadings or a conclusion, keeping it engaging and in the style you're aiming for. The first step to shaping a future worth living begins with one simple yet profoundly powerful act: knowing yourself. It sounds obvious, almost too simple, yet it is one of the most overlooked skills in human life. Most people move through their days like ships caught in a storm, being pushed this way and that by circumstances, by other people, by their environment, reacting to the winds rather than steering their own course. They live in a constant cycle of distraction, chasing external validation, reacting to challenges as they arise, and wondering why they never seem to reach their full potential. But those who master their future are different. They pause, they reflect, they observe themselves, they pay attention to what makes them feel alive, what drains their energy, and what patterns keep repeating in their life. This is the beginning of self-awareness, and it is the foundation upon which every decision, every relationship, and every success is built. A self-awareness is not just knowing your strengths and weaknesses on a surface level. It is a deep, intimate understanding of who you are at your core, beyond the masks you show the world. It is the willingness to examine the uncomfortable truths about yourself, the parts that you wish you could ignore, deny, or hide. Most people spend their entire lives avoiding this kind of reflection because it is uncomfortable. They resist it because it forces them to confront their own limitations, their failures, and the choices that have led them to this moment. But without this self-examination, growth is impossible. Without this honest look in the mirror, you remain a passive participant in your own life. You react, you imitate, you follow the paths others have carved, and you wonder why life feels like it's happening to you instead of through you. When you cultivate self-awareness, you begin to notice the subtle patterns in your behavior. You recognize the triggers that provoke your emotions, the situations that make you anxious, angry, or frustrated. And you start to understand why these reactions occur. You learn to distinguish between impulses that serve you and impulses that harm you. You notice the habits that have been shaping your life for years without your conscious consent, and you realize that change is possible. You see the decisions you've made not as fixed, but as choices that can be altered with intention and clarity. This awareness is liberating because it gives you control. It gives you the ability to act consciously rather than reacting blindly. It gives you power over your own destiny. Understanding your strengths is equally vital. Many people underestimate themselves because they fail to recognize their own abilities. They focus on what they lack rather than what they already possess. They compare themselves to others, ignoring the unique combination of talents, experiences, and perspectives that make them exceptional. Self-aware individuals, on the other hand, identify their strengths and leverage them strategically. They invest their energy in activities that align with their abilities, multiplying their effectiveness and impact. They know where they can excel and where they should seek support or delegate rather than wasting time and energy trying to be proficient at everything. Strength without awareness can lead to arrogance, but strength with self-awareness creates confidence, clarity, and influence. Equally important is understanding your weaknesses. Self-awareness is not a tool for self-congratulation. It is a tool for self-improvement. Those who are aware of their limitations are not paralyzed by them. Instead, they confront them directly. They take responsibility for the areas where they fall short, seek help when necessary, and continuously work to mitigate the impact of those weaknesses on their goals. They do not pretend to be perfect, and they do not let fear of failure hold them back. They know that acknowledging and addressing weaknesses is not a sign of vulnerability, but a mark of maturity and strength. It is this balance of understanding both strengths and weaknesses that allows someone to navigate life with a sense of grounded realism while still reaching for extraordinary achievements. Self-awareness also shapes the way we relate to others. Without awareness of our own emotions, motives, and biases, we cannot truly understand others. We may react impulsively, judge unfairly, or misinterpret intentions. But when we know ourselves deeply, we are better equipped to recognize and empathize with the experiences of others. We can communicate more effectively, resolve conflicts more thoughtfully, and lead with authenticity. Self-awareness allows us to see the ripple effects of our actions on those around us, and it encourages us to act with intention rather than impulse. It transforms relationships from transactional interactions to meaningful connections. Developing self-awareness is not an overnight process. It requires practice, patience, and courage. It begins with observation, simply noticing your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment. Journaling can be an effective tool as it allows you to articulate patterns you may not notice in the moment. Meditation, mindfulness, and quiet reflection are other ways to cultivate this inner awareness. It also involves seeking honest feedback from those you trust, as others often see aspects of ourselves that are invisible to us. The key is consistency and openness. The more you practice, the more attuned you become to the subtle signals your mind and body are sending, the clearer your understanding of yourself grows, and the more aligned your actions can be with your true goals. Another critical aspect of self-awareness is understanding what drives you. Motivation is not a one-size-fits-all concept. Some are driven by recognition, others by mastery, some by service, and others by innovation. When you identify your true motivators, you make choices that align with your intrinsic desires rather than external pressures. This alignment brings focus, energy, and fulfillment to everything you do. Without it, even the most impressive achievements can feel hollow. People who understand what drives them are able to craft their lives intentionally, pursuing opportunities that resonate with their purpose rather than drifting aimlessly in search of approval or temporary satisfaction. Self-awareness also requires confronting your fears. Fear is often the invisible force that shapes our decisions without our conscious consent. It can keep us stuck in unfulfilling jobs, toxic relationships, or comfort zones that limit our potential. By understanding your fears and the beliefs behind them, you gain the ability to move through them, rather than be paralyzed by them. Self-aware individuals do not eliminate fear. They acknowledge it, understand it, and act despite it. This is where courage is born, and it is where the most profound growth occurs. Finally, self-awareness is a lifelong journey. You never arrive at a fixed state of complete understanding, but each step brings more clarity, more control, and more possibility. With each layer of self-knowledge, your decisions become sharper, your actions more intentional, and your life more aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. It is the skill that underpins every other skill, because without knowing yourself, no strategy, no goal, and no plan can ever reach its full potential. It is the compass that ensures you navigate the stormy seas of life with purpose, direction, and confidence. The people who master their future understand success is not about talent alone, luck alone, or opportunity alone. Success is about knowing who you are, understanding the patterns that shape your life, and consciously choosing the path that aligns with your unique strengths, passions, and values. It is about taking responsibility for your actions, learning from every failure, and continually refining your understanding of yourself. When you commit to self-awareness, you take the first and most crucial step toward a future that is not determined by circumstance, but by choice. And that, above all, is what makes it the cornerstone skill upon which every great life is built. In today's world, we are drowning in information. Every second, thousands of articles are published, millions of videos are uploaded, and an endless stream of knowledge pours into our lives. You can Google almost anything, watch tutorials on every skill imaginable, or sign up for courses that promise to teach you the secrets of success. Knowledge has never been more abundant, and yet, paradoxically, most people struggle to make meaningful progress. Why? Because knowledge alone is worthless if you don't know how to use it. Skills may be cheap to acquire, but the ability to learn effectively, adapt quickly, and apply knowledge in the real world is a skill few people ever truly master. And this is exactly what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who stay stuck in mediocrity. Learning how to learn is not just a skill, it is the ultimate superpower of the 21st century, and your future depends on mastering it. The first step in mastering this skill is recognizing that learning is not the same as memorization. Most people think learning means absorbing facts, repeating formulas, or storing information in their brains, but that is just the surface. Real learning is about understanding deeply, connecting ideas, and transforming information into action. It's about creating mental models that allow you to see patterns, make better decisions, and solve problems that others cannot even comprehend. Those who excel in life are not necessarily those who know the most. They are those who can take what they learn, process it, and apply it effectively in any situation. This is a critical distinction. Because in a world where knowledge is everywhere, it is not the quantity of what you know that matters. It is the quality of how you use what you know. Learning effectively also requires an awareness of how you learn best. Every person has unique ways of processing information. Some learn by seeing, others by hearing, others by doing. Some need to write and reflect, others need to teach someone else to truly internalize knowledge. Self-awareness, the skill we discussed earlier, plays a crucial role here. Understanding your personal learning style allows you to optimize the way you acquire new skills and knowledge. When you approach learning with intentionality and strategy, rather than randomly consuming information, you accelerate your growth exponentially. You begin to notice that what once seemed complex and out of reach becomes manageable, understandable, and even exciting. Another vital aspect of learning how to learn is embracing the mindset of a beginner. So many people limit themselves because they are afraid of looking inexperienced or making mistakes. They cling to the illusion of competence, preferring to stay in familiar territory rather than venture into the unknown. But true learners approach every situation with curiosity, humility, and a willingness to experiment. They understand that mistakes are not failures, they are data points, feedback, and opportunities for refinement. This beginner's mindset is what allows them to pick up new skills quickly, adapt to changing circumstances, and innovate where others stagnate. The moment you stop fearing being a novice, you open the door to unlimited growth. Adaptability is another cornerstone of learning how to learn. Knowledge and skills are not static. What worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. Industries evolve, technologies advance, and the world shifts faster than ever. Those who rely solely on what they already know will inevitably be left behind. But those who have mastered the ability to learn continuously, who can quickly absorb new information, test it, and apply it effectively, will always stay ahead. This is not theoretical, it is practical. Look at the leaders, innovators, and top performers across every field, and you will see a common pattern. They are relentless learners. They read, experiment, network, and iterate constantly. They don't wait for opportunity to teach them. They create their own learning opportunities. They know that learning is not something that ends with school or university. It is a lifelong pursuit. The speed at which you can learn is also crucial in a competitive world. In many cases, the first person to apply a new idea effectively will gain an advantage that lasts far beyond the immediate moment. But speed alone is not enough. Learning must be deliberate and strategic. It must be paired with reflection and experimentation. You must question what you read, test what you hear, and adapt it to your context. Information without application is wasted effort. Learning how to learn means being intentional, asking the right questions, and constantly seeking to improve not just your knowledge, but your ability to use that knowledge effectively. It is a cycle: learn, apply, reflect, improve, repeat. Those who master this cycle outperform everyone else, not necessarily because they are smarter, but because they know how to convert learning into tangible results. A critical, often overlooked part of learning how to learn is you understanding the value of teaching. When you teach something to someone else, you clarify your own understanding, identify gaps, and reinforce your knowledge. This is why mentors, coaches, and collaborative learning environments accelerate growth. Learning in isolation can be slow and shallow. Learning through interaction, discussion, and teaching creates a feedback loop that accelerates mastery. The best learners seek opportunities to share their knowledge, not because they are looking for recognition, but because teaching strengthens their skill and understanding. The act of articulating what you know deepens comprehension in a way that passive consumption never can. Equally important is the willingness to unlearn. Just as the world evolves, some of what you once learned may no longer be relevant, or worse, it may be holding you back. Those who cling to outdated methods, beliefs, or habits find themselves constrained by old paradigms. True learners have the courage to discard what no longer serves them and replace it with better approaches. Unlearning is not easy. It requires humility, critical thinking, and the ability to confront ego, but it is essential for anyone who wants to thrive in a rapidly changing environment. The ability to learn quickly is inseparable from the ability to let go and start fresh when necessary. Finally, learning how to learn is about mindset. It is about cultivating curiosity, discipline, and persistence. It is about understanding that mastery is a journey, not a destination. It is about recognizing that the world rewards those who can continuously adapt, innovate, and grow. Knowledge and skills are important, yes, but they are the raw materials. The skill of learning itself transforms those raw materials into results, impact, and success. Those who master this skill are not limited by circumstance, industry, or competition. They create opportunities, solve problems, and make progress where others see obstacles. They are agile, resourceful, and unstoppable, and their lives reflect the incredible power of being a lifelong learner. So remember, the future will not be shaped by those who know the most today. It will be shaped by those who can learn the fastest tomorrow. It will be shaped by those who can take new knowledge, adapt it, apply it, and use it to create value in ways that others cannot imagine. Learning how to learn is not just a skill, it is the foundation of every achievement, the secret behind every successful career, and the differentiator between those who live passively and those who create extraordinary lives. Master this skill, and you will never be constrained by circumstance, trend, or limitation. You will be able to navigate any challenge, seize any opportunity, and craft a future that aligns with your highest potential. Learning how to learn is not an optional skill. It is the one skill that determines everything. Life is relentless. It will challenge you in ways you never expected, testing your confidence, your relationships, and your ambitions. The truth is, life does not discriminate between the talented, the intelligent, or the well-prepared. Everyone faces hardships, setbacks, and moments when the world seems to conspire against them. Some people confront these challenges and rise above them, using every obstacle as a stepping stone to success. Others falter, overwhelmed by frustration, fear, or disappointment, and let their circumstances define them. The difference between these two paths is not luck, not opportunity, and not raw ability. It is a single defining skill: emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to navigate life's storms with composure, to recover from setbacks quickly, and to keep moving forward even when the odds seem impossible. It is the invisible force that separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity. Emotional resilience begins with self-awareness, the skill we discussed earlier. You cannot respond effectively to adversity if you do not understand your own emotions, triggers, and reactions. When you are self-aware, you can recognize the first signs of stress, frustration, or anxiety before they spiral out of control. You can pause, reflect, and choose your response instead of reacting impulsively. This does not mean ignoring or suppressing your emotions. It means acknowledging them, understanding them, and using them as guidance, rather than letting them dictate your actions. Emotional resilience is not about being unaffected by difficulty. It is about being adaptable, aware, and intentional, even in the face of difficulty. One of the most powerful aspects of emotional resilience is the ability to recover quickly from setbacks. Life is not a straight path, and no plan survives contact with reality perfectly. Projects fail, relationships fracture, opportunities disappear, and personal disappointments occur. Those who lack resilience often take these events as a reflection of their worth or abilities, allowing temporary failures to define their identity. But resilient individuals see setback as temporary and specific, not permanent and personal. They understand that failure is a teacher, a signal to adjust strategy, or an opportunity to develop new strengths. The quicker you can recover from adversity, the less power it has over your life, and the sooner you can move forward toward your goals. Recovery is not passive. It is an active process of reflection, learning, and taking deliberate steps to regain momentum. Emotional resilience also requires managing stress in a way that preserves focus and clarity. Stress is unavoidable, but how you respond to it determines whether it will propel you forward or hold you back. Resilient individuals recognize the signs of stress, racing thoughts, tension, fatigue, or overwhelm, and respond proactively. They develop routines, practices, and mental habits that allow them to stay centered under pressure. Whether it is meditation, exercise, journaling, or purposeful breathing, these practices create mental space and clarity, allowing them to act decisively rather than react destructively. This skill becomes especially critical during moments of intense pressure, when the ability to remain calm and strategic can mean the difference between success and failure. Another vital component of emotional resilience is the ability to maintain perspective. Life is full of challenges, but resilient people know that no difficulty is permanent. They recognize that bad moments do not define the entirety of their life story. When faced with failure, rejection, or criticism, they resist the temptation to catastrophize or internalize negative outcomes. Instead, they step back and view challenges as part of a larger journey. Perspective allows them to see possibilities when others see dead ends. It allows them to find opportunity in adversity and to maintain hope even when circumstances are daunting. Without perspective, small setbacks feel insurmountable. With perspective, even the toughest challenges can be approached with strategy, courage, and creativity. Emotional resilience also depends on adaptability, the ability to adjust to changing circumstances and remain effective under pressure. Life is unpredictable and rigid thinking is a liability. Resilient individuals do not cling to expectations or fixed outcomes. They understand that the ability to pivot, experiment, and embrace change is critical to navigating challenges successfully. When plans fall apart, they do not give up, they adapt. They seek alternatives, create solutions, and leverage resources creatively. Adaptability does not mean giving up on goals. It means approaching them with flexibility, resourcefulness, and a mindset focused on results, rather than attachment to a single path. An essential part of building resilience is cultivating a support system. Emotional resilience is not about isolating yourself or handling challenges alone. Strong connections with family, friends, mentors, and colleagues provide guidance, encouragement, and perspective. Resilient individuals know when to ask for help, when to share their struggles, and when to draw strength from others. Support systems act as anchors, helping individuals navigate storms without being swept away by emotions or stress. Resilience is strengthened not just by internal fortitude, but also by the relationships that provide balance, insight, and accountability. Resilient people also embrace the idea that discomfort is necessary for growth. Challenges, failures, and setbacks are not indicators that something is wrong. They are opportunities to expand capabilities, deepen character, and strengthen resolve. Every obstacle carries a lesson, and those who succeed understand that leaning into difficulty is the path to mastery. The discomfort of facing fears, taking risks, or enduring failure is temporary, but the growth that comes from navigating those moments is lasting. Emotional resilience transforms challenges from threats into opportunities and fear into fuel. One of the most critical aspects of resilience is perseverance. Staying focused and moving forward when everything feels impossible requires determination and commitment. It requires refusing to quit even when results are slow, invisible, or discouraging. Progress is rarely linear. Success is rarely immediate. Life tests everyone, but resilient individuals understand that the only true failure is giving up. They continue to take consistent, deliberate action, even in the face of setbacks, criticism, or doubt. It is this perseverance, fueled by emotional resilience, that allows extraordinary outcomes to emerge from ordinary circumstances. Finally, emotional resilience is built through self-reflection and growth. Each challenge, setback, or moment of adversity is an opportunity to learn more about yourself, your capacities, and your limits. Resilient individuals take time to analyze their responses, identify areas for improvement, and adjust their mindset and strategies for the future. They do not blame others or circumstances. They take responsibility for their reactions and choices. This reflective practice strengthens resilience over time, creating a feedback loop that enhances confidence, emotional intelligence, and effectiveness in all areas of life. Emotional resilience is not a trait you are born with. It is a skill you develop through experience, intention, and practice. It is cultivated by embracing challenges, recovering quickly from failure, maintaining perspective, staying adaptable, leveraging support, leaning into discomfort, and persevering with purpose. It is the invisible muscle that carries you through uncertainty, setbacks, and pressure, allowing you to continue pursuing your goals even when everything around you seems impossible. Those who master emotional resilience do not just survive, they thrive. They are able to act with clarity when others panic, to innovate when others give up, and to maintain confidence when the world seems uncertain. It is the defining skill that shapes not only how you handle challenges, but also how far you can go in life. Your future, your success, and your fulfillment are not determined by how smooth your path is. They are determined by your ability to withstand storms and keep moving forward. Emotional resilience transforms obstacles into stepping stones, adversity into opportunity, and doubt into determination. It allows you to face life with courage, to recover with speed, and to act with clarity. It is the skill that separates those who succeed from those who give up, and mastering it ensures that no challenge, setback, or difficulty can dictate the trajectory of your life. The people who thrive in every circumstance are not necessarily the most gifted or fortunate. They are the most resilient. And resilience is a skill you can cultivate, refine, and strengthen. Starting today, you can have brilliant ideas, unmatched skills, and the strongest resilience. But none of that matters if you cannot communicate effectively. The ability to convey your thoughts, to inspire others, and to create understanding is one of the most powerful skills you can develop in your life. Communication is not just about talking. It is not just about sharing information. It is about connecting with people, influencing behavior, and inspiring action. Without it, even the greatest vision remains trapped inside your mind, unrealized and unseen. It is the difference between potential and impact, between being admired quietly and leading change. The truth is, the world does not reward brilliance that cannot be shared. It rewards ideas and actions that move people, that create understanding, and that inspire others to follow. At the heart of communication that inspires action is the ability to listen deeply. Most people think communication is about talking, about expressing themselves. But the most influential communicators are first and foremost great listeners. They pay attention not just to the words others say, but to the feelings, intentions, and needs behind them. They hear what is left unsaid. They notice the subtle cues in tone, expression, and body language, and they respond in ways that build trust and understanding. Listening allows you to connect with people at a deeper level, to understand their perspectives, and to craft your message in a way that resonates. When people feel truly heard, they are far more likely to engage, to participate, and to take action. Communication that inspires action is also about clarity. You can have the most important ideas, but if the why are buried in jargon, complexity, or ambiguity, they will never have an impact. The ability to articulate your vision clearly, simply, and compellingly is essential. People are drawn to clarity because it reduces uncertainty, provides direction, and makes action possible. A clear message removes doubt and hesitation. It allows people to see what you see, to understand why it matters, and to recognize what they need to do to contribute. Clarity is not about oversimplifying. It is about distilling complexity into actionable understanding. The most effective communicators have the ability to make the complicated simple without losing depth, to translate vision into terms that inspire engagement. Influence is another critical aspect of communication. Communication is not just about sharing information. It is about creating change, shifting perspectives, and motivating action. Influence is built on credibility, empathy, and trust. It is the ability to make people believe in your ideas, not through force or manipulation, but through understanding, connection, and authenticity. When you communicate with integrity, when your words match your actions, and when your message reflects a deep understanding of your audience, you gain influence naturally. Influence multiplies your opportunities, opening doors that would otherwise remain closed, aligning others with your vision, and creating momentum for ideas to take shape in the real world. Emotional intelligence plays a significant role in communication. Understanding your own emotions, as well as the emotions of others, allows you to navigate conversations with empathy, patience, and precision. It allows you to frame your message in ways that resonate emotionally, not just intellectually. People act when they feel understood and inspired. They engage when they see that your intentions are genuine and aligned with values they care about. Emotional intelligence in communication ensures that your words do not just inform, but connect, motivate, and energize. It transforms interactions from transactional exchanges into transformative experiences that move people to acts. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools in communication. Facts and logic are important, but stories are what capture attention, ignite imagination, and create emotional resonance. When you tell a story, you provide context, meaning, and relatability. You turn abstract concepts into lived experiences, and you make your audience care. Stories allow people to see themselves in your vision, to understand why your ideas matter, and to feel compelled to contribute. The greatest leaders, innovators, and visionaries throughout history have understood the power of storytelling. They do not just present data. They craft narratives that inspire, persuade, and mobilize. Communication that inspires action also requires authenticity. People are intuitive. They can sense when words are hollow, when actions do not align with speech, and when intentions are self-serving. Authentic communication is honest, transparent, and grounded in values. It is about sharing your vision, your challenges, and your commitment in a way that resonates with your audience's sense of truth. Authenticity builds trust, and trust is the foundation of influence. Without it, no message, no matter how clever, will compel people to act. Authentic communicators inspire loyalty, engagement, and dedication because their words reflect who they truly are, not who they think people want them to be. Adaptability in communication is equally important. Every audience, every situation, and every moment is unique. The most effective communicators read the room, adjust their tone, language, and approach, and respond to feedback in real time. They do not rigidly stick to a script or force a message into an ill-fitting context. They observe reactions, listen to questions, and tailor their delivery to maximize understanding and engagement. Adaptability ensures that your message reaches the heart and mind of your audience, rather than getting lost in translation. Another often overlooked element is the power of asking questions. Great communicators do not just provide answers, they provoke thought, they challenge assumptions, spark curiosity, and invite participation. Questions create engagement, ownership, and dialogue. They allow people to explore ideas, confront limitations, and invest in solutions actively. Communication is not a one-way transmission. It is an interactive process that inspires action by involving others in the journey. The questions you ask can motivate reflection, dialogue, and ultimately, transformation. Consistency in communication is crucial. One powerful speech or message may inspire briefly, but sustained influence comes from consistent, clear, and authentic communication over time. People trust those whose words and actions align consistently, repetition with variation, reinforcing key ideas while adapting to context, builds credibility and strengthens impact. Communication is not just a moment, it is a process that compounds over time, building momentum and shaping culture, behavior, and results. Finally, the ultimate goal of communication that inspires action is to move people from understanding to engagement, from insight to behavior, from vision to results. It is not enough for people to simply agree with you intellectually. They must feel connected, motivated, and capable of contributing. Effective communication bridges this gap, translating ideas into tangible action. It amplifies your impact, multiplies your opportunities, and creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own reach. The ability to communicate in this way is not a talent reserved for a few. It is a skill that can be developed, refined, and mastered with intention, practice, and reflection. When you combine communication with self-awareness, emotional resilience, and the ability to learn, you create a force that is unstoppable. Your ideas gain traction, your vision inspires, your influence multiplies. Communication becomes the bridge between potential and impact, between strategy and execution, and between thought and action. Those who master this skill do not just participate in the world, they shape it. They inspire teams, ignite movements, and create change that others cannot even imagine. Without it, even the most brilliant ideas, skills, and resilience remain confined, never fully realized, never fully appreciated. With it, you unlock the ability to make a difference, to lead effectively, and to turn vision into reality. In a world full of noise, distraction, and competing messages, the ability to communicate clearly, authentically, and powerfully is the skill that ensures your voice is heard and your vision is realized. Communication that inspires action is not optional, it is essential. It is the multiplier of all other skills, the vehicle through which ideas transform into impact, and the bridge between dreams and results. Those who master it do not just succeed, they influence, inspire, and create a legacy that extends far beyond themselves. Finally, let's talk about something that is simple, yet often overlooked. Something so basic that most people dismiss it, yet so powerful that it alone can determine the trajectory of your life. That something is consistency over time. Talent alone will not carry you. Knowledge alone will not carry you. Even resilience and brilliance will falter without the steady, disciplined application of effort over time. Consistency is the invisible force that turns small actions into extraordinary results, that transforms ordinary people into exceptional achievers, and that separates those who succeed from those who dream without ever realizing their potential. Consistency is the habit of showing up day after day, regardless of circumstances, mood, or external recognition. It is the commitment to improvement, even when progress feels invisible. Most people misunderstand success. They imagine it as a sudden, dramatic breakthrough, a promotion, a windfall, a moment of recognition that changes everything. But real success is rarely instantaneous. It is the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions performed over weeks, months, and years. Each day that you show up, each effort you make, each decision to persist adds to the momentum of your life. And over time, that momentum becomes unstoppable. One of the most powerful truths about consistency is that it compounds. You may not see immediate results when you start, and that is precisely why most people give up. They expect overnight transformation, instant validation, or rapid success, and when it does not arrive, they quit. But those who understand the power of consistency realize that every action, no matter how small, is an investment in the future. Like money in a compound interest account, the returns multiply over time, often in ways that are invisible in the short term. Writing for 30 minutes every day, exercising for 20 minutes every day, learning one new concept each day. These actions accumulate, building skills, habits, and momentum that ultimately produce extraordinary outcomes. Consistency also builds credibility and trust. People notice those who show up reliably, who do not waver in their commitments, and who follow through on their promises. It signals discipline, reliability, and character. It is one of the most underestimated forms of influence. While brilliance can inspire, it is consistency that earns respect and builds a reputation that opens doors, creates opportunities, and multiplies impact. The world trusts those who show up day after day, and consistency is the signal that communicates this reliability without words. Many people confuse consistency with perfection. They think that in order to be consistent, they must be flawless, never miss a day, and always perform at 100%. But true consistency is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about continuing even when conditions are imperfect, when motivation is low, or when external validation is absent. Missing a day does not erase the value of showing up for a year. Falling short occasionally does not negate the power of persistent action. The commitment to keep going, despite imperfections and obstacles, is what creates the cumulative effect that transforms lives. Consistency also develops discipline, which is a skill in itself. When you commit to showing up regularly, when you commit to practicing your craft, learning your skills, or working toward your goals, you build the mental and emotional discipline to withstand distractions, temptations, and setbacks. Discipline is the muscle that allows you to act even when you do not feel like it, to prioritize long-term rewards over short-term comfort, and to keep your focus on what matters most. Over time, this discipline becomes second nature. The act of showing up consistently rewires your brain, turning effort into habit and habit into automatic action. Another key aspect of consistency is the incremental progress it generates. People underestimate the power of small improvements because they are invisible day by day. Yet the reality is that small, repeated improvements create exponential growth over time. Improving by 1% every day may seem insignificant, but compounded over months and years, it creates transformation that is almost impossible to achieve through sporadic bursts of effort. The most successful people in every field, from business to sports to art, understand this principle. They do not rely on occasional inspiration or massive effort alone. They rely on steady, deliberate, and consistent action that slowly builds into mastery and excellence. Consistency is also about focus. Showing up every day requires prioritization, clarity of purpose, and the ability to avoid distractions. It demands that you align your actions with your goals and values consistently, rather than being swayed by fleeting trends, opinions, or conveniences. When you are consistent, you develop a laser-like focus that allows you to concentrate your energy on what matters most. This focus amplifies your efforts and ensures that your daily actions are purposeful rather than scattered. Consistency is the backbone of intentional living, the secret weapon behind people who achieve more with less effort than those who scatter their energy across countless directions. The power of consistency extends to every area of life. In relationships, showing up consistently builds trust, strengthens bonds, and communicates care. In health, consistent habits lead to long-term wellness and vitality. In career and business, consistent effort produces skill, influence, and results that others may never achieve. Consistency is not a single action. It is a mindset, a philosophy, and a commitment to being reliable, disciplined, and focused over the long haul. Perhaps the most important lesson about consistency is that it levels the playing field. Talent, connections, and intelligence may give someone an initial advantage, but without consistent action, that advantage diminishes quickly. Meanwhile, someone with less natural talent but extraordinary consistency can outperform, outlast, and outshine those with greater resources but irregular effort. The world rewards those who persevere, who refuse to quit, and who demonstrate reliability and persistence. The ability to maintain effort when others falter is the ultimate competitive advantage. So here is the truth. Your future does not depend on luck, connections, or even innate intelligence. It depends on your ability to take consistent, deliberate action toward your goals, no matter how small or incremental those actions may seem in the moment. Your talent and knowledge are meaningless without follow-through. The habits you cultivate, the daily practices you commit to, and the persistence you maintain over time will define your results more than any other factor. Consistency transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. It turns effort into momentum, momentum into skill, and skill into achievement. The power of starting now cannot be overstated. Every moment you delay is an opportunity lost. You do not need to make monumental changes overnight. You do not need to feel perfectly motivated or have every condition aligned. What matters is showing up, doing the work, and committing to improvement. Start small if you must, but start. One small action today, repeated tomorrow and repeated the next day, compounds into results that are far beyond what most people imagine. Consistency is the engine that drives growth, achievement, and fulfillment. It is the bridge between aspiration and reality, between potential and impact. Consistency is also empowering because it gives you control over your life. When you show up reliably, you create momentum that others cannot take away. You build a track record of action that strengthens confidence, reinforces identity, and compounds opportunities. Each day you show up is a vote for the person you want to become, the life you want to live, and the impact you want to have. The more consistent you are, the stronger that momentum becomes, and the easier it is to sustain effort through challenges, distractions, and setbacks. The reality is that the world often exaggerates the role of talent, luck, or timing in success. The truth is, long-term, extraordinary success is almost always the result of consistent, relentless action over time. Every person who achieves remarkable results has one thing in common: they showed up again and again in ways that others were unwilling to. They committed to the process, trusted the compounding effect of their efforts, and refused to quit when progress was slow, invisible, or discouraging. Consistency is the secret ingredient behind every remarkable achievement, every thriving career, and every fulfilled life. So here is the message you must take with you. Start today. Take consistent action. Show up when it is easy, and even more importantly, when it is hard. Commit to daily improvement, no matter how small. Build the habit of persistence, trust the process, and allow momentum to work its magic. Your future, your success, and your impact are not determined by luck. They are determined by the choices you make each day, the actions you take consistently, and the discipline you cultivate over time. Master consistency, and you master your life. Master consistency, and the world begins to bend in your favor. Master consistency, and there is no limit to what you can achieve.